For many of us, we have a game in our memory that we hold fondly. For whatever reason, it stands out and felt like a unique experience. Something about it spoke to you on a deeper level. It's as if the game and the moment you first played it stand out in your mind because of how captivating it was to you. That moment stays with you, and you'll always remember it. Omikron Nomad Soul is one such game for me, because it's full of moments that I'll never forget. The moments in Omikron genuinely made me sit back in my chair, because I felt genuinely involved in the story, and the game had a level of interaction with the player that I had never encountered before. It made you feel like you were actually a part of the story, like somehow personally you were involved. From the very moment the game begins, it's as if you're a part of the story. The first character you meet is a man named Kale, and he asks you a very deep and personal question. It's that, first, will you help him save his world? And the second is that he actually needs your soul to enter his body. From that moment, the game had my attention. It was a unique level of interaction that I'd never actually kind of experienced, where a game would use a metaphysical concept to bring you into it. When the game came out in 1999, I was impressed by it. The game's scale and the open world sandbox was something I had never really experienced at that point in gameplay, but honestly, I was already drawn to the game before I even installed it. In the year 1999, walking down a long hallway at Kmart looking at all the PC games they had on display, Omikron's box stood out to me because of not only its shape, but because of the bold statement, "Who will you be after you die?" So it was already pretty intriguing in the sense that that was kind of a different statement than many other games had made at that time. What has changed so much from the 90s to now is that game cases used to have to make a statement to get your attention, to stand out from the dozens of other games on the shelf with it. Omikron spoke to me for whatever reason, because of how unconventional the box was, and the bold statement. And the cover art itself was pretty intriguing with the many different faces on it. So that oddly, there's something more corporeal about games coming out of the 90s because of what they had to do to get your attention. Something I missed from the 90s would have to be game manuals. Omikron Nomad Soul's game manual is nothing special, but the concept art within the pages made for a really intriguing ride home from the store, and only further increased my interest in the game before I installed it. Omikron Nomad Soul is something else. I can say that because I lack the ability to classify this game. That's because Omikron is an open-world adventure puzzle game, and also it's a first-person shooter. Then it shakes things up even more by introducing a fighting element. Oh, also there's a RPG element that I never quite really figured out in the game, but that has to do with magic apparently. And also, the game has facial capture, which in certain moments in the game have branching dialogue choices similar to, I would say, LA Noire later. Which, a lot of that makes this game a bold mark on 90s PC gaming. Apparently more was promised while the game was being developed. There's actually an online blog from David Cage showing the game's progress as it was being developed, and this blog is still online. So Omikron stands out even more because of this. Some might say the game never reached its goals that it set out to achieve, but for me it succeeded in creating a memorable experience that I'll honestly never forget. Omikron also did something else. It actually spawned a lifelong love of David Bowie music.
I think firstly we'd like to thank very much Eidos for inviting us to be part of this enterprise. I think it's fascinating, and it was the logical extension. Reeves and I have been writing music and songs for movies for years, but I think the idea of developing a soundtrack idea for a game is really quite unusual. The idea of writing songs specifically for a game was really a compelling factor, and it's the one thing that we wanted to do. And also they didn't give us a preconceived idea of what we should do. We were left to our own devices.
The soundtrack from the game is extremely memorable, and honestly, I listen to it from time to time because I just love it. I would share the music here, but unfortunately for fear of copyright issues, I won't. But they're available on YouTube and you can listen to them. And honestly, I've enjoyed this game so much, I don't want to ruin any of the game for you. I really suggest you check this title out. It's currently available on Steam and GOG. I'll admit, the game is far from perfect. The controls are rough, and sometimes the puzzles are pretty difficult to figure out on your own at times, But honestly, it's an experience worth having, and I honestly would suggest playing this game regardless of the controls. It's worth the experience. If you like this content, I highly suggest you check out my website, HistoricNerd.com. I also highly suggest you check out theconsoleexplosion.com. It has a number of other content providers there that generate quite a bit of good work that you might find enjoyable. If you want to say something to me directly, feel free to contact me at HistoricalNerd on Twitter.com. So feel free. All right, thank you very much for dropping by. Have a great night, evening, or day, whatever it is you're doing. Bye.